Hello, boys. So, this is your news. Action's been picking back up. The main storylines, we're going to get some pretty big heat. But first, we need to get the data too, the news with the data. You know, the ones that are not really solvable yet, but we will appreciate in the future. It helps us to get a picture of the underworld landscape. So the first one is, it says here, window of a commercial establishment was hit with a bullet. Now, what interests us is the location. First of all, it's a supermarket, and this supermarket, or mini supermarket, I guess, called Mizan, and it was hit on the last Sunday, not this Sunday, but last week. And it's in downtown near Metro Guy Concordia. So it's a very populated area. Lots of people, students around there. It's a very lively area of the city. There's always people around at any time of the hour. If you go there, you'll see people. So they decided to do this, and I'm just trying to look for the time here. It says 10 in the morning. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting to do this. Well, look, 10 a.m. in the morning is when the police received the call to go check that place out. Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. No more details than this. Could this be a message being sent to this establishment? I don't know, but probably yes. We're going to have to figure out if they're starting to extort this area too, because remember, they were allegedly extorting, well, not even allegedly, at this point, it's pretty certified. They've been extorting businesses south from here, way south. So we are in downtown, but the other location we're talking about was nearer to Wellington Street, right along the edge of the southern tip of Montreal. So, this is not there. This is not there. It's still, say, 10-minute driving distance, but you're still downtown right now. Just to note this. Now to the next one. It says here, January 13th. Rounds were let off in the middle of the night on Sunday, so I guess it's exactly the same. Just a few hours before the shooting in downtown, we just talked about Guy Concordia. Just a few hours before that, because the one in Guy Concordia is 11 a.m., right? This one's at 4 a.m. At 4 a.m., that same morning time, there's rounds being let off at a home, a residential home in Dollars des Ormeaux. This is the West Island. If you followed our channel these past few months, there's been plenty of this going on, sending out messages to homes. And I guess 90%, based on my memory, 90% of them, when we covered the news in the West Island, it was when they were targeting a home, sending out a message, or trying to, throw a Molotov there and things like that. We haven't really heard about business property destruction there. We only heard about letting off rounds. So here's another one again. And one thing that's interesting about this location here, it seems like a few months ago, they burned a vehicle less than 10 meters from this address. I don't believe in coincidences that they burned a vehicle and then now they're also letting shots at this home. What are the chances? A few feet away, there was a car burning there a few months ago. You know what I'm saying? Now, the question is does that vehicle belong to someone at this address? That's what we need to know. But for now, the cops found multiple shells on the ground. Now, we move back to the red zone. The area I talked to you about last time around the Quebec City region, and where there is the war between the BFM and the Hells Angels, where there was tons of action this past year or last year. Well. We continue now. The infamous city of Limoilou, right there, right dead in the middle of the red zone, seems to be a police operation, tactical operation that occurred. You could see them fully equipped and ready to go in. This one's published on January 16th, so like 2 days ago. It looks like they went inside of a home, right? A residence. This doesn't look like a property for a commercial. So what happened? A 43-year-old man was arrested at approximately 5:50 in the morning, Thursday, at his house in Limoilou. And he was arrested for armed robbery, I guess, and sequestration. and for having used or for loading a firearm. So the sequestration part is a signature for what's been going on with the BFM doing it to the Hells Angels pipeline. Now you see that someone's being arrested there for sequestration, and the man is being arrested inside, dead in the middle of the red zone. So you know what this is probably about, right, my friend? We can already read between the lines. See what we got. Say that when they got at his place, they seized the Rolex watch, the airsoft tool. You know what I'm talking about. And they're saying that the events for which he's being arrested for was for the 11th of November. The man is well known by police, and he'll be detained. Okay, no more information than that. Now I wonder what happened on the 11th of November. We probably did cover it, but I can't remember. Let's move on to the next. So the next story is really short, straight to the point. It's the type of news story that we like to just gather data points on. It'll help us understand the underworld later on. Perhaps, some clues like this. So 2 people arrested for trafficking stupefires in Louisville. This story is on January 16th, so Thursday. A man of 46 years old and a woman 36 years were arrested Thursday in Louisville in Mauricie after a search warrant in regards to stupefires. So the operation started at 9:30 in the morning Thursday, and they've got their hands on, it says, 23 units of M&Ms plus $12,000 in cash Canadian. And as well as the brown chocolate plant. I can't say the word here, but you know what I'm saying. It's the green plant transformed into brown. The police also seized 6 airsoft tools. What's up with the airsoft tools today? Is it because they're trying to, instead of having the real thing, they like to have the fake one? You get a lesser charge for having the fake one. So it says the cops did seize their airsoft tools. Prepaid cards of a value of $4,000. Oh, and they did catch a real tool as well, it says here. A lot of the bigger one. And also a taser, it says. They also have a bow and arrow that they took, and a brass knuckle, American brass knuckle. And let's see the names. So the 46-year-old that they arrested, his name is Eric Willard, from Louisville. He was arrested on the spot, but it seems like they also arrested the woman, 36. Yeah, they did. But they said that she was released after, eventually. But she could eventually face accusations. So what did it necessitate? It says here that this operation took 10 police officers and those sniffing dogs. Interesting. So that's a bust for stupefire trafficking in Mauricie. All right, and speaking about stupefire busts, the next one is pretty epic, something that happened in the past. It says here a clandestine laboratory, a producer of cane condemned to 8 years in the pen. So the guy is Joseph Fren, you see him here. Joseph Fren, which the police considers as being tied to the Lebanese mafia. Oh, there you go, man. We rarely get these stories explicitly like this. Lebanese mafia. Rarely we read about them. But he was condemned to 8 years in prison this Thursday. Wow, what a Thursday, huh? Tons of events. At the courthouse in Saint-Jérôme for possession of cane in the goal of trafficking, of course, but also for production of cane. Interesting. An accusation which they write here has rarely been deposed in Quebec. So here you have friend, 35 years old. The story is he was arrested in 2019 by the SPVM, that's the police of Montreal, when they dismantled his clandestine laboratory where he transformed and produced cane in La Chute in Laurentides. Inside of this laboratory, they discovered multiple kilos of a product that helped as a cutting agent, as well as hydraulic presses in kilograms, and electronical balances to weigh the stuff that were contaminated with canes. They also found ovens, chemical products, masks, respirators, gloves, and also those, what do you call it, those stamps to press your logo on your product. You know what I'm saying? On the cane. And yeah, here's a picture you could see. So yeah, that's it. Let's just see what else we can get from the story here without reading the entire article. Seems like he was producing or trafficking 50 keys per week. Mm. So it's not just him. It was Joseph Friend and his brothers. The brothers are Sauma and another individual. So he has brothers with him in the operation, and the operation was in 2017 when it started, and I guess they finished the bust in 2019, as we read earlier. The investigators were suspecting him of moving approximately 50 keys of cane per week in that era, and that he was responsible for resupplying the Hells Angels and the Mafia. Hence the Mafia link that was mentioned earlier. Now, they're saying that this same organization, according to cops, was behind another importation by plane that failed, where it was transporting 130 kilos of cane in March of 2017. Yeah, it says that how they got busted is there was a mechanical problem on the plane, and they had to land in the airport of the University of Ohio where they got busted. Interesting. I think we did read something about this earlier. Let's move on to the next story. So he got 8 years. So this story is about Monday, January 13th. It says here that 4 Quebecers are being charged for importing cane from Colombia inside of boxes. Jonathan Galota, 41 years old, from Mirabel, which is just north of Montreal, not too far away, like say 30, 40 minutes. Jean, or maybe let's say max an hour. We have Jean Bergeron, 59, from Laval. So Laval is just below Mirabel. So you'd go from Montreal, say you go north, you'll go through Laval first, and after Laval it would be Mirabel. And then we have another person, says here, Laurent Alexandre Riverin, 31 years old, from Montreal. And then we have Alia Bizien, 30 years old, from Boisbriand. Boisbriand, again, north of Montreal, very close. The 4 people will face accusations of importing cane. They will appear in court on January 29th in Laval, so we'll get way more information out of this. But they're saying that it was 39 boxes that had cane inside of them. And they contain approximately a total of 1.3 kilograms of cane among all the boxes. Very interesting. I don't know how you do 39 boxes, but containing approximately 1.3 kilograms of cane. I don't know how they did this, how they spread it out. But anyways, among the suspects that were pinged, Jonathan Galota, we mentioned earlier, he was arrested in Costa Rica. So I guess he got in trouble a few weeks ago. He got arrested in Costa Rica with 1,000 units of M&Ms on him. All right, let's move to the next story, guys. Now, the next one's remember Maurice Mamboucher's home neighborhood, Hochelaga Maisonneuve, one of the most poorest neighborhoods inside of the city, where there's the most junkies there, and lots of trafficking going on there. Well, it seems like just a week ago there was a shooting in this community building you see there. It's community center. As you see on the banner on top, said something about overdoses and things like that. I think they help house some homeless people, or they give them some services, people who are addicted, things like that, And the funny thing is, the name of the place is called Dopamine. What a funny name to give it, huh? Well, Dopamine's been targeted. Someone shot the place. Actually, 2 people, and those 2 people were arrested. One of them has a Arabic-sounding name. The other one, I'm not too sure, but it sounds, in my opinion, it sounds like a black guy named Anglophone type of guy, I don't remember the names, but it doesn't matter. They didn't give us any background on the two people, but there was two people arrested, and they found a Tech Nine on one of the persons. They will appear in court. For now, it's too early to know what this is really about. Why are they targeting this community? Now, I gotta tell you, usually, it's, for example, in Mexico, they target places like this because some of the addicts that go there actually deal, right, and they're trying to scare those people. So I don't know, maybe in Montreal something like that's happening. Maybe these two guys, one of their pushers is turned their backs on them or whatever. I don't know. You never know. And they're trying to, and they thought the guy was there and they shot the place up. Who knows? Or maybe not. Maybe it was just a fight happening in front of the building and it just accidentally hit that spot. But yeah, for now, there's not much known. But if we ever get an update on this, it would be worthwhile to see. All right, let's move to the next. Now, when we talk about the war between the independents in the red zone, the family mafia and the Hells Angels, we're talking about the red zone. I say that's Quebec City and its surroundings. But there's another area or other areas that I've mentioned. I've mentioned briefly. We coined it the corridor. The what do you call it? The North Coast, which is not really the North. You should be familiar with me saying that now. But there was also another area that I did not mention, but it definitely needed to be mentioned here. There's another region that is not the red zone, that is not the corridor of the North Coast, but there's another region that I maybe you're familiar. I tell you, there's nice people. They live in this mountainous region called Bose. Well, there has been businesses burned there, like warehouses. I think all those warehouse areas, and it's suspected that it has something to do with the Hells Angels or one of their affiliate-owned warehouses. There's been a few action there in the Bose region. Well, today's news, we do have something happening there, and it's quite familiar for us. A vehicle was torched in Bose. So this one's on Thursday as well. Tons of action on Thursday, huh? And yeah, I don't think they got anything more than that for now. It says that that the. Oh, wait a second. Now they're saying, hey, wait, there's something else that actually happened. So this is Thursday. Yeah, we found the car burning. Good. But now it says a little bit earlier. It says, let us remind people that on Wednesday, gunshots were fired on a commercial street in Sainte Marie de Beauce, which there was a big deployment of police officers searching the area to find out who did what. Someone reported gunshots. The occupants of a vehicle discharged of the Glock, multiple times on passengers of another vehicle. So it was a drive-by on another vehicle at approximately 9 o'clock in the morning in front of a McDonald's restaurant on Boulevard Vachon. So this is just a few hours earlier before finding that vehicle burned. Very interesting, in the same area. Oh, here we learned something. It says that the person that was targeted was a member of the Hells Angels. He was a full patch member. And it would be Alexandre Maltais, 44 years old, member of the Hells Angels since 2017. Interesting. We're going to have to read up on that later on a separate episode on that so we can get more information. But there you have it, man. First time ever we hear about this. Hells Angels targeted for murder. The closest that we've had was last year, around November, December-ish. We had an underling of the Hells Angels, a long-time biker, forgot his name. But they believed that he was running a territory for them, and remember, he got killed leaving his house. That's the closest that we ever had lately on an attempt on the Hells Angels, especially in this saga with the BFM wars. It was almost like a line you do not cross. They seem to have crossed it with their underlings. But they still did not touch the Hells Angels. Now we're finding out that, nope, this has definitely changed. Really crazy stuff that we've gotten to this point. Let's go to the next story. Another attempted murder. And again, it continues. So the previous one, we found out that someone killed or tried to kill a Hell's Angel. Then they burned the vehicle, right? And we talked about it was in Bose. Everything fits to the T, everything that we would expect. It does follow the story of the BFM versus the Hells Angels, Red Zone, Bose, and the corridor of the North Coast. But now, another one. So things are definitely heating up. This one says January 15th, this Monday it was published, right? The 15th is on a Monday? Oh no, so my apologies, Wednesday. This Wednesday, even closer to us. Just like 3 days ago. A sympathizer of the Hells Angels assassinated in the middle of the day in Joliette. Darn. So he was off in the parking lot of this. See the parking lot here? Seems like he was off around here, behind or in front of this condominium. The person's name is Antoine de Margerie Blais. 37 years old, assassinated by bullets in a parking lot of this co-op Wednesday morning in Saint-Charles-de-Borromée, close to Joliette in Lanaudière. The victim has no previous criminal background, but was well known by the cops. The man was considered as a member of the Full Metal, a underling group of the Hells Angels, according to our information, it says. Antoine de Margerie Blais was killed inside of his own vehicle. According to our information, this man was allegedly implicated in the trafficking of cane. He was arrested without being accused in the spring of 2019 in an operation called Orque. This operation had led to the arrests of heads of networks of stupefyers in more than tens of cities across the province. Now they're saying that they could establish that Antoine de Margerie probably had relations to certain groups that are active in the criminal landscape. So they're investigating. I'm trying to see if we can skip some parts here. Okay, yeah, and they're saying that about half an hour after his death, so he got killed in Saint-Charles-de-Borromée on Wednesday, a couple of hours later, that's when we heard the gunshots being let off at that McDonald's we just spoke about earlier in Bose. So they happened a few hours after each other. Very interesting. Yeah, this is just repeating the facts that we already know from the previous story. Okay, we can move on to the next. So definitely things are heating up big time. And I find it really funny, the timing. You wonder what's going on in their heads. Recently, we just found out that the police, about 2-3 weeks ago, maybe 3 max, they had a huge operation across the province attacking the bikers this time. And it's interesting that now is the time that the enemies of the bikers are deciding to strike them too. You'd think that they would pull off the gas right now because those bikers are being watched by the cops. No, I find that a little bit reckless, but now they're definitely upping it right now. And that just shows you that these new generation street gangs have a lot of more organization and they deserve a lot more credit than we would have gave them in the past. They're taking the Hells Angels head on. Okay, so I'll summarize what Félix Séguin says in this interview. So he's got underworld connections, and they've told him a little bit what's going on. He also has connections with the police. So this person who just died, we found out he was a member of Full Metal, which was an underling club of the Hells Angels. They say that he was a personal driver for members of the Three River chapter of the Hells Angels. And it seems like he recently got some sort of promotion in the ranks of this underworld network that he was part of. And another thing, Félix Séguin's sources also say that he may have been a prospect to join the Three River chapter. Now, the odd thing about all this is Félix Séguin stresses how important it is to know that this man somehow in the last few weeks may have backed off a little bit in his role, because he seemed to be worried about his children. and he wanted to focus more on them. And funny thing enough, not funny, but sad enough, one of his children was there inside the vehicle when he got killed. So this is very similar to the Gregory Woolley incident. Now, the thing you have to understand why he's telling us this is that the police's theory is that it's not BFM or independent traffickers that killed him, although you would believe so. What the police think is that this was an internal purge. That means his own network may have gotten rid of him. And another thing, though, there was a group of assassins that came to finish him off. The police have reasons to believe, maybe they have footage, but they're certain of this. One of the pair who came to kill him fled the scene on a bicycle. Also, the situation's a little bit confusing. On one end, people who are close to this victim, they believe it has something to do with the BFM. It's the BFM that are responsible. But the police, their theory is that it's not BFM and this was actually an internal purge. Question is, what do they know? What do they know that they're so convinced about this? Because that's a massive leap to make. Now, one thing to also note is the police told Félix Séguin that the killing of that Hell's Angel that we mentioned earlier during the day is not linked at all to this one, this aspiring Hell's Angel, this Full Metal guy. So that's it for today. As you can tell, the underworld is shaking up, action's coming back. As I told you, remember I told you in Christmas it'll slow down, and then we'll find out by mid-January till February if usually every year around this time there's a spike, and you saw it with your own eyes. But the most alarming part of all this is if you look at the underworld rules, they're starting to be completely bent and disrespected. We had Gregory Woolley getting killed in front of his baby. He was a few months old inside of that car. We had Claudia Iacono, 1 or 2 years ago, getting off, the woman. And then now we find out that this Full Metal guy, part of the underworld, the Hells Angels network, he gets offed with his kid inside of the vehicle with him. So it's one thing's clear. One thing we learned from all this is the rules are starting to become really broken. And also, I forgot to say, in British Columbia, you had the Upal guy. I think it was Brothers Keepers. We talked about that before. He got off. His son got off too, man. They had the choice of just killing him, but the cops are certain that when they were given the choice, they on purpose killed his son also. This is absolutely horrible, man. So as you can tell, we're in a new era, a new generation. For decades, the Hells Angels held the monopoly. They had this immunity where it was like you don't touch them, and you saw for the last few months. Last 2 years, everything that we've covered, not a single time was a Hell's Angel touched. They may have burned a vehicle of a Hell's Angel, they may have burned a property of a Hell's Angel, they may even off their underlings, but they never laid a finger on a Hell's Angel from Quebec. But as you see, we just learned about this. They killed someone, maybe it's an internal purge, you never know, but I'm not leaning on that right now. It seems like there was a Hell's Angel that was killed a few days ago. I'm leaning more on the war that's been happening, I don't think it's time for Hells Angels to purge each other right now when they're dead in the middle of a war. So what do you think, man? Things are really getting crazy around here. So I don't know what to tell you, man. This is pretty shocking. But I can't say I did not see this coming. Anyhow, thank you for joining, and have a great day, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick, shorter format. I did the best that I could with the information that I had. Hit the like button or the dislike button. Do consider becoming a member. It helps me out and to be able to continue to do these things for you. Thank you very much. Have a great day, friend.